guys want. Got it. That didn't take long at all, guys. Look at that. See, guys, this is why you need to know Baitcaster basics. Hey guys, welcome to Learning the Wildlife. I'm Joshua, and today I'm going to be talking to you guys about Baitcaster basics. Now guys, what a baitcaster is it's a reel. And so what this reel is, it differs from all the other reels because it is one of the most reliable and most sturdy reels you can get and recommended by most pros. Well, all pros really, guys. And so a baitcaster is what you normally use for your faster moving baits, your baits that require more strength. That's why it's called baitcaster, because it's for like bigger baits and stuff. So what I'm going to be talking to you guys about today is how to set up your baitcaster and how to cast your baitcaster and use it. So let's get started. Now guys, when you set up your baitcaster, the first thing you want to do is, after you get it spooled up and after you get it on your baitcaster rod, unless you have a combo. Now if you buy a combo and it's already put together for you and it's got line on it, that's great. Now, starting off when you first get your reel, guys, is you don't want to just grab it and start casting away. So what you want to do is you want to get your reel, and your reel is equipped with, should be equipped with a little tension knob on the side. My reel has one right here. And so what the tension knob does is it controls how fast your spool is going to be spinning and how fast it's going to let that lure fall. So when you first get your baitcaster, the best thing to do is, you see the lure right here, okay, reel the lure up to where it's hanging about 10 inches away from your rod. And so the way you want to test to see, guys, how it falls is, hey guys, are you looking for a great place to get fishing tips and buy great tackle?
If so, we got great news for you. Check out Omnia Fishing.
Omnia Fishing is a website, guys, where you guys can go to and read fishing reports on the lakes you fish. There's thousands upon thousands of fishing reports, guys, on lakes and rivers, and you can go there, guys, and people who have actually fished there have real-time intel, guys, on what the fish are biting at that time.
And guys, if they don't list the lake that you fish, you can actually ask them, can they add that lake to their selection of lake?
And if you feel like you've got good information to share with the fishing community, you can file a fishing report yourself, guys, on the lake you fish. So you can share your knowledge with others so other people can be great at fishing those lakes. And guys, it also isn't just a place to collect information, it's a place to buy tackle, wonderful tackle from all the brands you love. They have every single brand that we love, guys, on their website. Yeah. So you want a great baitcaster just like this?
They got you covered.
Yep. So go to Omnia Fishing, guys, link will be in the description. Check them out, have a great time. What you want to do is have it hanging about 10 inches away from your rod, like I said, and you want to crank that knob forward until that bait falls about that fast. And when your bait hits the water, alright, let me show you. If that bait hits the water and gets a backlash, if any loose line starts to come up, then you immediately know that that is not set right. So if it does that, you just crank it up a little more, a few clicks more if your reel clicks, and then you press the button. Once you press that button and that lure starts to fall, you want it to fall slowly. Just like that. That might be a little too much. You need a little less. You want it to be just enough to where when it hits that water surface, it won't backlash, just like that. Your reel also should come with dual brakes, guys. And what the dual brakes are, they're just an added braking system to keep you from backlashing when you go to make that cast. So when you first start out, I recommend turning that thing all the way up as far as it could go. Crank it all the way down to the highest number. Usually their number, I got the paint rubbed off here on mine. Crank it all the way up to the highest number, and that should be the best starting point where you're starting out casting. So now that you have your whole reel set up, now let's talk about how to cast your baitcaster. Cast your baitcaster. A baitcaster is totally different from a spinning rod. If you're used to using a spinning rod or a casting rod, a baitcaster is absolutely different, guys. A baitcaster, when you cast a baitcaster, there's a point when you have to release that bait in order for it to fly correctly. So when casting a baitcaster, hold your rod just like this. Finger right here in the trigger with your right hand, or if you're left-handed, it's the opposite. Have your finger right here in the trigger and grasp the rod like this, and have your thumb right here on the trigger of the reel. You have your pointer finger on the trigger of the rod and your thumb on the trigger of the baitcaster. So when you go to cast that bait, first cast, guys, I'm going to teach you guys how to do overhand cast. There's 3 main casts, and then there's pitching and flipping. We're not going to talk about that right now. So the 3 main casts is an overhand cast, which is like this, a roll cast, which is like this, and then just a side cast, which is like thrown to the side like that. So, the cast I'm going to teach you guys right now is the overhand cast. So, before you cast, guys, make sure that when you press that button, you're holding that spool with your thumb, guys, because elsewise you're just going to be throwing your lure all over the place. So you got to hold the spool with your thumb to control it. Your thumb is like the main controller of a bait caster. Use your thumb all the time. And once you get better and better, you'll have pinpoint accuracy, and you can get that lure to hit the water nice and gently because you're using your thumb to control it. So when you go to first cast your bait caster, guys, bring your rod tip back to 2 o'clock, guys. Think of it like a big clock. Bring it back to 2 o'clock. You're going clockwise when you're going back. And then when you go forward, you're going counterclockwise. And so when you go to cast, release with your thumb. Now we talked about holding it with your thumb. Release with your thumb around, let's say, 12 o'clock. So you bring it up, 12 o'clock, release. Just like that. 12 o'clock, release. And so you release to 12 o'clock, come down to 10 o'clock. All right, here we go, guys. Like that. And that bait just flew very far. And so, guys, the way you should have your reel set, it should be to where you don't have to thumb it right now. Once you get the basics down of casting, guys, then you'll use your thumb and you'll be able to slowly start to take those breaks up, take the tension off your spool, and you'll be able to cast a lot further. But for now, guys, you just want to get that down. You want to whip it out there, just like that. Now, guys, if you don't set these right, you're going to have a lot of painful backlashes that you're going to have to get out over and over again. But that's a part of casting a bait caster. You will have those. I mean, everybody deals with them, guys. I don't care if you're a pro or not. You're going to get backlashes at some point in your fishing. So, let me show you guys again, one more time, how to cast a bait caster. Bring it back to 2 o'clock. Go forward, and when you go forward, release at 12 o'clock, just like this. Boom. There. And with your settings set right, you don't have to do nothing. You can just sling that bait out there, and you don't have to use your thumb. But one thing to practice, guys, is you might not have to do this, but practice as soon as that bait hits the water, pressing the spool with your thumb. Just to practice, guys, to make sure that, you know, once you do get better and better, that's just already a good habit set in you. Just like that, guys. So, after you've got the overhand cast down, you can start working on some of these other casts, like this roll cast, like that. Now, roll cast, guys, what I usually use it for is more pinpoint accuracy. You know, like when you're up close cruising the bank on your boat, you just kind of sling it out there, get a nice gentle landing on the water, and that's what I usually use it for. But it can go long distances, like a roll cast and a sideways cast when it's really windy can go a lot further than an overhand cast. So when that overhand cast, that little bait's way up there in the wind, guys. Wind's catching it and slowing it down, and you will get more backlash. So when it's really windy, the side cast and the roll cast are really good, just like this. It's basically the same principle, but the clock is, you know, facing down, so you're casting sideways. So same principle with the clock. You go back to 2 o'clock, release at 12 o'clock, and bring your rod to 10 o'clock. Just let me show you guys again. 2 o'clock, release 12 o'clock, bring your rod to 10 o'clock. Just like that, guys. Simple. And guys, practice out in the yard, your yard, you know, casting over and over and over again, guys. So you'll get that right, because I mean, getting this right is really important, guys, if you really want to be successful at fishing. Next thing we're going to talk about, guys, is flipping and pitching. Once you get, you know, your overhand cast, your side cast, your roll cast, and all that stuff right, you can start flipping and pitching. Now, when you're flipping and pitching, it's best to have your tension a little looser, so you can go ahead and bring that down. And when you're flipping and pitching, the way flipping and pitching works, guys, is you have your rod in your right hand like this. You have your, you know, you hold it like you're supposed to, but you hold the bait in your hand. And usually you have that bait right there with your spool. Have enough line out to where that bait's hanging right there beside your spool. And when you go to pitch, guys, a pitch is like a flick, and it's sending that bait out there, and you're thumbing it with your spool, just feathering it, so that bait lands precisely where you're aiming and touches the water very gently. This is a really accurate way of casting. It's not really casting, guys, it's called pitching. This is how it works. You hold, like I said, hold the lure right here beside your reel. That's the best way to have it. And when you go to pitch, guys, bring your rod down, pull back with your hand like this, guys, and flick with your rod. It's sending that bait out there. Press the trigger. Don't forget to press the trigger. You don't want to be slinging that bait all back in your face. Pull it like this, bam, right out there. Now, this is better for baits that don't have a lot of hooks on them, because crankbaits and stuff will hook you. You try and pitch. They got so many hooks on them, guys. So, and hold your bait, guys, when you're pitching below the hook, guys, because you can get hooked in your thumb. And you hold the bait, you know, just like this, like you're pinching it like that, and flick your rod out there and let the weight of the lure carry it. There's not much to it. Just flick it out there. Boom. And you can do this, once you get it, guys, you do it 100 times a day, be as accurate as a sniper. You just get in those hard to reach places. A good thing to do, guys, is set some cups out in your yard. Just practice pitching until you can get that bait in there over and over again. And another way you can cast, guys, is something called flipping. Now, sometimes people refer to pitching as flipping. They'll call it, flipping, flipping the bait out there. But there really is a term for it that relates to a specific technique. And the way that is, guys, is you have your lure, it's like pitching, have that lure hanging about the length of the rod though this time. And so what you do is you pull line out right here, you leave that lure hanging, but you pull line out of it from your reel like this. And you kind of flip it out there like that. That's how you do it. I don't really use it much, guys, because I don't feel like it's as fast and accurate as, pitching. But it is another way of getting that bait out there accurately that you can learn, and maybe you'll be better at it than I am. I'm not very good at it, never have been. So guys, once you've got casting, pitching, and your reel settings right, you've gotten good at casting, now it's time to talk about how to set the hook with the baitcaster, guys. You gotta, once you get this fish to bite, how about setting the hook and getting them in? So, when you're setting the hook with the baitcaster, you cast it out there, you're fishing along, and when you're setting the hook with the baitcaster, hold your reel. This is how you should be holding your baitcaster in your left hand after you've casted and you're working that lure along. Hold it with these two fingers right here with the trigger coming out in between these two fingers. And so you wrap these fingers around the trigger right here, guys, with the trigger sticking out between your pinky and this finger right here. And then you have this finger right here, guys, wrapped around holding this part of your reel. And then you have this finger up here and your thumb up here, guys. So so when you're working like a jig and something, you got to pull it up and let it sink. Any slack in your line, guys, that's another thing I forgot to mention. Any slack in your line, guys, when you go to make another cast, can cause you a backlash. So when you go to reel in, guys, keep that finger right there on that tip of your rod point with the line coming under it so that you can keep it tight when you're working a jig or something like that. Something that requires, there to be slack line, like you have to let the lure fall when you're working a jig. And so, once you're fishing that along and that fish hits, and so once you're working that bait and you're just fishing along and that fish bites, you feel a little thunk. The way you want to set the hook, guys, and it really kind of depends on what you're using. If you're using like a treble hook, you don't really set the hook as hard. You kind of just lean into the fish and pull the rod up like this. But if you're throwing something that has a big old flipping hook or something, guys, with a lure with a big hook, like a jig or a weighted Texas rig or even a weightless Texas rig, you want to reel down in that fish where all the slack's out. You pull up like this, guys, to set the hook on that fish. Have that rod butt into your side and have it tucked under your arm like that. And when you set the hook, guys, pull it straight up so you get that hook right in the roof of the fish's mouth. Cast out there, working along, catching the fish. Boom, he hits. Wham! You set it just like that, guys. Pull up into that fish, or you can even pull to the side if you're throwing like a crankbait or something. You can kind of pull to the side, you get it in, or you can even do that with big hooks, guys. Just set that hook by yanking really fast and reeling. That's how you set the hook with the baitcaster. So guys, that's Baitcaster Basics, how to use your baitcaster. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. And if you did like the video, guys, we post all kinds of videos, me and Jude, on hunting, fishing, and all kinds of stuff. We go out on lake and fish, and we have a lot of fun on this channel, guys. So please like and subscribe if you like that sort of stuff, and go catch some fish on a baitcaster, guys. We'll catch you guys next time.